Hi everyone, Emma here. I am getting ready to show you how to do a herringbone bracelet using twin beads. So I just got these three different twin beads from Shipwreck Beads. I bought factory packs and I just want to do a bit of a review and show you how to do this lovely bracelet. And there's a few things we need to talk about, but to start with, let's go over the colors. I thought I was losing my mind. I just started a video and I had to stop it because I couldn't remember the names. So let me start with this one here. This one is done with what they call gunmetal, and it is lovely. Let me show you the beads. I do find this one, you don't get the full gunmetal effect because of the silver beads, but let me show you what they look like. They're amazing. Look at how gorgeous these guys are. So they are lovely. So we're going to use that one to show you how to attach a bezel button and loop to it. So let me just put this down, I'll show you. So on this one here, I did finish it. So it has the bezel buttons on the ends. And let me adjust the camera here. And these loops. It is so easy to attach even when it's on your wrist, and it looks lovely. It looks like a focal element of the bracelet. So it's really neat. Now I do have a video out on how to do the 12mm Rivoli, which is this size, and the 14mm Rivoli. I tried to kind of make it as easy as possible using all the mistakes that I've made and what I figured out the best way to do it. I think I may do another video like that just because I know how long it took me to get the courage to start bezeling things. But once you start, you won't be able to stop. And I have to tell you, if you're hesitating at all, you got to try because it's so much fun. Like, look at how gorgeous this is. So we're going to put the second one on. We'll do that at the end as if we're doing a full bracelet and finishing it off. So the next color, this color here, is called Deep Copper Silk. And then this one is called Dark Copper. So that's why I was like, I know there was copper and I couldn't remember which they called what. So it's possible I got them mixed up. This might be the Deep Copper Silk. I'd have to bring it up on their site. Anyway, the factory packs, take a look at the unboxing if you haven't. It's definitely worth checking out the factory packs. I have like these containers full, and then I have probably another 1.5 full of the beads. Now they were different sizes, so just be aware of that. Okay, so this one here I wanted to talk about because when I did the unboxing, I was a little surprised at the shape of it. So let's take some out and I'll show you. Let me put the lid back on. And we will get to making this bracelet very quickly. I'll try to make this quick. So if you take a look, I'll pick up a few and you'll see. See how they go straight up and down? Oh, let me enlarge this. Of course, I dropped them trying to do that. So you can see they go straight up and down. If we take out one of these, you will see the difference. And if you're familiar with super duos, so they are slightly smaller than super duos, and the little point in between the holes, like in between those holes, on super duos are a little more pronounced. These are not, but I'll tell you, I was concerned that they might not nestle as well. Now, using it for this design, it looks really great, but of course, these are not really nestled. They're kind of stacked on top of each other. So I'll have to do like a one that's a crisscross, but you can see right here on the needle in the crisscross it actually sits really nice and close to the other one. And that's what I mean by nestling. I want them to be, you know, so that it looks like you know, one bead together when you get the whole thing in there. So you can see that quite a bit of difference in these. If you're familiar with these, let me know if you've ever run into this. I'm just guessing it's different manufacturers, although, I mean, they all came from the Czech Republic, but so let's get started. Enough chitter chatter. So I am going to, I'm using a size 10 needle. You don't need anything smaller than that. You will need some 11 O's. I didn't bring them out. Oh, they're right here. This is going to be one of those videos. Just warning you. I'm just, I don't know, being silly, I guess. So let me move this over. So give you more room here to see what we're doing. And so we need our Super Duos. Let's put some more out. I think we'll do a little bit more. So I'm just going to show you a little bit, and then you can carry on yourself. It's the same. So the first row is different and is a little bit confusing. So we'll go through that nice and slow, and then we'll move on to the next one, and we'll take it slow for the first couple of rows, and then we'll just get going, and I'll do some talking and stuff like that. Tell you some fun stories. I got one in mind that just happened. So this one is champagne galvanized champagne. It's one of my favorites. It's so gorgeous. It's almost like a rose gold color. I was curious to see how it would offset with this beautiful stuff. So let me tell you to begin with, I thought that this was the first time I was doing this design, and I don't know, I looked, I have over 900 videos, so I looked and I found a video where I made one. I don't remember making it. It was, at the time, I'm guessing super complicated because I've seen this bracelet so many times, and I was like, oh, it's too complicated, too complicated. But of course, I got stuck on the first row. So let's simplify this. But I just preface that because I have to look at my notes. Because, of course, you do the first row once, and then you do like maybe 100 rows. So I can't remember exactly the first row. I think we do pick up an 11O, and then this step here, we're going to repeat 3 times. We're going to pick up a twin bead and 3 11Os. Okay, so we have our first one, our twin bead, 3 11Os, and we're going to repeat this step 3 times. So that's 1, twin bead, 3 11Os, that's 2. Just show that to you. A twin bead, 3 11Os, this is your third. Okay. And then another twin bead, and then 2 11Os. And that's your first row. So let's take a look. Okay, so you pick up 1, and then twin bead and 3, twin bead and 3, twin bead and 3, and then a twin bead and 2. I'm going to take that down to the bottom. I took a wingspan of thread. You can use whatever thread you want. You can use Nymo thread or Fireline. I'm kind of using this as if it's like a peyote stitch. So normally I use the Nymo thread with that because it's not necessarily structural. You're going through so many times that not one place will have a lot of strain on it, so it won't break. So you can get away with using this thin thread. But if you feel better using your fire line, go ahead. It's just a little more expensive, so I kind of keep that when I absolutely have to use it. Okay, so for the second row, we're not going to add anything on. We're just going to take our needle and we're going to go through the open bead in the twin. Let me adjust this here. Okay. I'm gonna try and do this on the mat. You know what? I looked at a bunch of different people doing this, and every time it's like, it's just because there's nothing to hold on to. It's hard to demonstrate it and make any sense. So this way, hopefully this will make sense to you. So I'm just gonna bring my thread over there, get ready for the next. So now, and this, from now on, this is going to be the same. You're going to pick up, I'm just going to double check. Now we're going to pick up an 11-0 and a twin, like that. We are, and this is kind of the row that's a little bit fussy. So we're going to get through this first 11-0. So our thread's coming out here. We're going to pick this 11-0 up like that. And you see my needle's on an angle. I'm going to go ahead through the open hole on the next twin bead, like that. Just hang on to everything. You can do this in your hands easily. I did find that it flipped around a lot. It's not a big deal. Once you get it tight, it goes to where it needs to go. But again, that could be a source of confusion for you. So this is going to go sit up there. Let me hang on to this and pull this tight like that. So you see what's happening. It's creating this little V. Okay. Now we're going to pick up an 11-0 and a twin bead. And we're going to go through the first bead after our thread. So our thread's up here. We're going to go through this first 11-0. Now I've got it super tight, so I gotta get in there. There we go. And go through the next open hole on the next twin bead. Again, I'm gonna pick it up just to make it easier here. Through. You see the thread just flipped where it needed to be. If it gets like tangled and stuff, just take a breath, put it down and look at it, and if it's really confusing, just take it apart and start over. It's not a big deal. I had to start over a couple of times. So you can see a pattern starting to form. So let's go to the next one and do the same thing. So this should go this way, like that. Pick up an 11-0, a twin bead. Your thread's coming out of this twin bead. You're going to go to the very first 11-0 and go through it like that. And I'm just going to flip that. We're going to go through the open hole of the next twin bead like that. I'm just going to hang on to that, pull it through, and it'll flip if I pulled it tight there. This should, okay, something's, Oh, it's just the whole thing is flipped, I think. There we go. See what I mean about this first row? See what I mean, Vern? But like I said, if you pull it tight, it does eventually get to where it needs to be. So now the bottom one is in the wrong direction here. There. That's what it should look like. This is the only row you're going to have troubles with. So just hang in there. Don't freak out like me. I was like, oh, I got to start all over. Okay, so we still have one more to go. We're going to pick up an 11-0, a twin bead, and now we only have one bead there. So we've got our 11-0 twin bead. We are going to go through this like that. Pull through. There. And that should flip up. Okay. There. That's what you should have. Okay. So now we're going to turn around, and to do that, I think most people add just one bead here, but I'll tell you what I like to do is I like to add two so that it forms like a little kind of picot on the edge. That's your choice if you do one or two. So let's grab two 11-0s, and our thread's coming out of this 11-0. We are going to go through the open hole. And so that's what it looks like with the three. So you might want to just do two. Now I'm just going to flip it in the opposite direction. So now we're going to bead up the other way. So again, now it's the same step every time. Pick up an 11-0 and a twin bead. Your thread's coming out of here. You're going to go through this bead and you're going to go through the open hole. Now, what I find the easiest to do that all in one step is to come from the bottom of your 11-0. And once you have a few rows, you can hang on to it with your fingers. It makes it so much easier to get in. So you're just going to go through those two. I'll try and hang on to this so you can see what happens here. And this stop bead I can tighten too. That will make a difference in how it looks. There. So I'll just start holding it this way. Makes it a little easier, and I think you can see it as well. So 11-0, twin bead. I was just going to say about checking the holes in the twin bead. I was doing it for a while, and then I stopped doing it because you're only 4 beads away, and when you get to the next row and you go through a hole, I mean, the most you're gonna be stuck is maybe if you get to the end of the second row, so you'd have to take out, you know, what you just put in and then the previous row to adjust for the hole that's clogged. So I don't check them anymore. It takes a lot of time. Takes away from my beading process. So go through the 11-0 and through the open hole of the next. let me know when you're, if this is something you're doing with me, if it's helping to get the instructions like this. I know some people do a lot of beading. This is boring for them, but there's enough people out there, and I was a newbie only like 4 years ago. So I definitely want to make sure people are as enthusiastic about beading as I am. It's so much fun, and there's so many things that I didn't do early on because I was like, oh, that's too difficult, or that's too complicated, I'll never get it and stuff. And now I'm like, why didn't I do this? This is so much fun. These are addictive. Once you get the hang, like I made 3 in one day. That's how easy it is. Yeah, we got one more to go. So we'll pick up an 11-0 and a twin bead. Coming out of this twin bead here, we're going to go through this last hole, last 11-0. Pull tight. So you can see it's starting to take shape. I'm going to add 2. You can choose to add 1 if you want. And there we go. So let's flip it and work the other way. And now I'm starting, I can hang on to my thread like that. And the stop bead. Pick up an 11-0, a twin bead. You're coming out of this twin bead. You're going to go through this 11-0 and through the next open hole of the twin bead that's next in line. That. It looks loose here. You see how the thread is like really looped here? Thought this should be lower. So if that happens, it's because when we flipped over, we didn't keep our tension. So I'm just going to take my nail and I'm going to pull it tight like that and then pull. And look, it set it nicely in that hole. Take an 11-0 and a twin bead. Coming out of here, we're going to go through the 11-0 and the next twin bead. That. Pull tight. And your tension's up to you. Some of them I made a little looser than others, and some I did nice and tight, but that's up to you. You can see threads if you look really close. Like here, you can see the thread, but at a distance, you're never going to see that. So it's up to you how tight you want to make it. So you got an 11-0, a twin bead. You're going to go through, you're coming out of this one here. You're going to go through this 11-0 and through the open hole of the next twin bead. That. Get it in there. 11-0. And this part might be confusing too, this end part, because normally when you're doing this, you're going through an 11-0 and a twin bead, but there's nothing there except the 11-0. No worries, just remember to go through that. I think I may have a couple of times turned around too early and went, why is my bracelet getting thinner? Like it's not as wide. It's because I missed this one. Go through that 11-0. And you can make this wider too. Just add another set at the beginning of the twin bead and the 3 11-0s. So now we're going to put 2. So we're coming out of this 11-0. We're going to loop around to the open hole of that last twin bead. Go like that. And don't worry if that happens, we'll just pull it down. I have beeswax on my thread, so it's kind of sticking a bit. Let's just pull that tight, pull it in. There we go. I'm going to flip it. And we'll just keep going so you can take a look and see what I'm doing as I talk a bit. Let you know how things are going. So as you can hear in my voice, I'm feeling a lot better. I saw the chiropractor today and my back is really good. And interesting enough, I had a conversation with him. I'm going to tighten this here about my legs swelling. And I said, I just noticed it after my surgery. I was looking for blood clots, and I was surprised that one leg was bigger than the other. So he took a look at it and he said, it's probably lymphedema from the surgery. And so he assessed it and felt the legs, and he said, you have a lot of fluid on the one leg. So I'm kind of relieved that that's what it is and that it's, not something more serious. Although having to deal with lymphedema is not nice if it's an ongoing thing. But hopefully with more activity, I can deal with it. I was noticing when I was sitting at my desk beading and then I'd get up, my legs were like red and purple and swollen. And I'm like, oh my God, it sucks getting old. I'm too young to be old. So here's the story. We're driving home from the chiropractor, and I said to Jen, I said, oh, you know what? I have compression stockings that I got years ago. I had a really bad hamstring injury, and my legs were swollen from that. And they had me, I was assessed by a specialist, and they measured my legs and everything and ordered the stockings. And I got he was like, do you want to pick the color you want? I'm like, yeah, I want lime green. He's like, oh, they're all sold out. And Jen's like shaking her head going, how did I know she was going to pick lime green? Because I'm supposed to use these like when I'm working out at the gym and stuff like that. With my shorts on so you could really see the lime green tights. Compression stockings. So anyway, I got purple. Even better. So I told her, I was like, yeah, I didn't know where they are. I made a mistake here. I'm talking too much. This may be a disaster talking so much. Okay, so I picked up an 11-0 and a twin bead, and I need to go through the 11-0. I missed that, and then the twin bead like that. Close that off like that. And again, I'm just going to check, make sure it's tight here. Pull that in. There we go. So I mentioned, yeah. So I showed when we got home, I pulled them out. I had them in with some fitness gear, like different knee braces and stuff like that. And she goes, you know what? I have some compression stockings too. I'm like, when did you have compression stockings? She said, remember my back surgery? They put them on me. So I was like, yeah, that'd be great. So she's looking in her dresser. She pulls out these really fancy lacy white stockings. I'm like, Jen, that's not for compression. So that's for something else. And she's, she's like, oh, that's not them. And then she pulled out a pair of black ones, and I'm like, are you seriously? Like, how many stockings do you have? And they're stockings. They're not like pantyhose. They're stockings. Yeah. When I met her and we would go out fancy, she wore stockings with the garter and everything. It was very pretty. So there is our last on that row. So now we do the turnaround. But so funny. We've been together now for something like 20 years. So I'm going to flip it. And you know how they say you get very relaxed? She'll wear a brand new sports bra, and I'm like, oh, that's a really pretty bra. Not like when we used to date and used to wear the white frilly ones. Okay, so we've got a 11-0 and a twin bead, and we are going through this first 11-0. And you can see how easy it gets to go through when you come from the bottom. So this might be a good way to hold it. And again, I'm going to pull this. It probably doesn't need it, but I'm OCD. So yeah, that was our... It's hard to believe 20 years. My sister is having her 35th anniversary this week. That's crazy. So happy anniversary, Sylvia and Peter. They'll be excited to hear that. And so they did a staycation for the week. And one of the places they went to in Toronto is Casa Loma. So I don't know if anybody knows about Casa Loma. It was a castle that I don't remember the whole story, but it was a man that came from another country where there was a lot of castles, and when he saw there was no castles here in Canada, he decided to build a castle for his wife. And so when we were kids, and then I guess it was donated to the city. So when we were kids, we used to go on school trips to Casa Loma all the time. I loved it. It's really beautiful. Yeah, I'm gonna pull this. So that is, we'll finish this row. That is how easy this is, and you can see how addictive this would become. Now, the one that I did, and you know what? I might have given it away. The one that I made years ago is what I did was I put the first row was a dark blue, the two middle rows were a light blue, and then the last one was a dark blue. So it looked like a cable knit sweater. It was really neat. 11-0 twin bead, go through the 11-0. That 11-0 twin bead. And just to get back to these beads, so far I'll show you what I've come up with as to like misshapen beads and broken beads and stuff like that. So there is the beginning of this cool bracelet. So here I made a bracelet with each color. So this is what I ran into with each one. Just the odd thing, that's pretty normal. And I think the amount is pretty normal for any bead where you have to, you're going to have some bad ones. The one that I found was funny, though, was these ones here, these gunmetal. Let me see if I can get one that's really prominent. Is the gunmetal. Let's see if I put it on the white, you can see it better. So the one side is really flat and the other side is rounded, when it should both be rounded. Some of them were, like maybe this one here was even worse. I did find that there was a lot, but then you know what? I started where I stopped picking them out. and continued on with the bracelet with those beads that were slightly misshapen. And honestly, I don't know how you would be able to tell in this. And you couldn't really tell when you were making it. Let me see if I can find one. So there's one that's flat on one side. So yeah. Okay, so let's put the button on this one. So I went ahead and, so just to let you know, I strung a separate piece of thread to add the little loop on this that's going to be attached to the button. And the reason I did that was I did a whole other video showing you how to bezel it and then put it on. And I used the same piece of thread, and when I pulled it tight, the whole thing came off. So I'm like, no, use a separate piece. This is pretty sturdy on there, so it's not going to come off. But so you're going to need 10 11 O's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I am coming out of one of the 15 beads here, and you're going to try and go directly across. It's not like super, like I wouldn't bother counting them. I'd just take my thread and do something like this and figure it's maybe here, like that. You can use less than 10 as well. I had it so that it would dangle a bit away from the bracelet. You can do 6 or 8 if you want. Now you're going to go back through everything again to reinforce it. So I also wanted to thank everyone in one of the last unboxings I did. I mentioned I'm lonely because nobody's talking to me. I am such a princess. You guys were on vacation and forgot about me. So many people commented and told me what their summer was like and stuff, so it was really nice. So I want to thank everybody. I even had offers to adopt some more sisters. I was saying that I give, I always make my second bracelet of a design and make it for my sister. So they were saying that I could adopt them. I'm like, okay, tell me your wrist size. I am so not into selling. Sylvie and I did craft shows when we were adults and working. I don't know, I must have put my thread through the thing here. Let me see if I can get that a little tighter on the other side so it looks neater. There we go. Okay, I'm going to go through the bead one more time, the 15-0. So yeah, we did ceramics classes and sold our ceramics at craft sales, and I think we did some Christmas craft sales and stuff. I found most of the people that went to these shows were there to get ideas for crafts. So I always kept that in mind. So I'm going through 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to go through 6 and then attach it. And we're going to go through the middle 2 beads. These 2. So let's just pull that tight. There. Now let's take a look at our bracelet here. So on this one, I ignored the first row and went through the second, and then I brought it in to, you can put your button wherever you want. Don't, it's up to you. I would do the exact opposite on the other side if you're doing this style. So we're going to go down 2 and over 1. So let's flip this. So we need to be on, there's the button there. So we need to be on this side. So we're going to go into this row and we're going to go down 2. So we're going to go into that third bead. So make sure I have the right needle here. Let's just go through here and just pull that in. Okay, so now we're going to just leave that loose and we'll just come back around. So you're going to go backwards 2, and we're going to just go through these 2 one more time after we go through that bead. But yeah, so I always kept it in mind about, craft shows and stuff. And it definitely helped me when I started beading. Somebody asked me when what got me started on YouTube and stuff. When I started beading, I thought, rather than sell, why don't I teach? So I would do bead parties where, they would pick a bracelet design, and I would come to somebody's house. They would do all the inviting and stuff. Had nothing to do with me. It was all their friends and whatnot. They would collect the money, and I would, have all the supplies ready for each person to make a bracelet. They loved it. It's like you go out and come home with something, right? So I'm just seeing why I can't get that tighter. Okay, so let's just go through. So my thread's coming out of the bracelet here. I'm going to go through these 2 beads again one more time. That, and then I'm going to go through. I'm going to go through the bead next to the one that I was going through, because I want to make my way over here to add the loop for the other side. Let's see where this goes. So I'm just catching a few beads going through to get to this side. If you're concerned, you can go ahead and put a knot and then pull it, which I think I will do right now. So I'm just going to grab a thread bridge like that, then twist my thread around it twice, bring it down as close to that bead as you can, hang on to it with your finger so the loop doesn't pop up and grab hold of something, and there, you can't even see that, like you wouldn't even know I put a knot there. So then go through the next couple of beads, and this part, gotta watch, it gets hooked on stuff. And even when you're doing this bracelet, sometimes your thread will get hooked around one of the twin beads. Just take a look at what you're doing. I had that happen. I had to go backwards and undo it. So I'm going to go through here. I think I might add the loop right here on this one. I added it near the end on that final. Actually, I added it to this bead here, looks like. Yeah, I added it in between there. So let's do the same. So let's go through this 11-0. that. And then up through the twin bead. Okay, and you're going to need 36 11/0s to create the loop that will fit around a 12 millimeter. It's slightly loose. Now I like it that way because it's easier to put on. You might want to do 34 or 32. I tried 30, it was no good. So it's amazing how a few little beads can make a difference. And you know, as you're putting them on, just go ahead and check. Just pinch them together and put it over the bezel. So I'm not counting these because I counted them before. If you remember, I said I did this video before. That's only happened to me a couple of times. Surprising, in close to 1,000 videos, I had to stop. Sometimes I was right at the, well, this video I was right at the end. I was putting the little attachment on. I was not happy. I was very sad. It's so sad that I still saved the video. I looked at it last night and I thought, could I still publish this? It's like, how can you publish something? It's like doing a magic trick and never showing the end. It doesn't work, Emma. Okay. So there, it's all in there. Let me show you what I mean about pinching it and then testing it. So we'll test it on the one on the other side. And look at how easy that was. So like I said, it's a bit loose. You might want it shorter. The other thing you can do, you can fancy it up, and I've done this in some videos, where you bring the bottom piece together and you go up through one, and I had like a 15/0 in between, then go up to the other one, add a 15/0, go to the other side, go up through the next. And I did that maybe 4 times, and it closed this up, it zips it up, makes it shorter, and there's a really pretty finish on it. So let's just, so we're coming out of this hole. I think on the other one, did I go through the same hole? I think I did actually. So let's do that then. Make it simple. Oh, that's the other side is coming through. And my needle must have passed through the thread. There. Okay, now to secure this, I am going to go around the twin bead like this. And I'm going to go down here. You can find your own path to create a loop to get back into your loop and secure it one more time. So just go like that. And I guess we can go through these beads. There. Go up through this twin bead and through the 11/0 next to it. I'm going to do it in 2 steps here. Go through the 11/0. That. Flip this. I'm going to go up through the twin bead and through the beads themselves. I'll do it in a separate step. So go up through every one that you added on. And keep going. So this one is for my sister Sylvia. But you know what? I'm making some more. Let the adoptions begin. There. And then we're just going to tie this off. So we'll go back down through that twin bead. It's a little hard with the blue. I didn't think that one through for you guys to see, but yeah, let's go through something else. I'm going to go down here. And I'm going to do my knot right here. So go around once, twice, pull that through, and then go through a few beads and cut it. Let's see if we can go through this one. And this one. There. That should do it. Just check everything here. Okay, cut that off. Done with that. And there we go. Oh, this is really nice. That turned out nice. Very lovely. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching, and just a kind of housekeeping thing. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. And the reason I tell you that is there's at least 4 giveaways coming up, and I'll tell you, I do a giveaway every 1,000 subscribers, and I do more than that for other reasons. And on every giveaway, somebody doesn't claim their prize. And the reason is they've not subscribed, so they don't get notification. And at first I used to go back to the actual video where they commented, and I would like have a comment back to them saying, you won, contact me. And after, like, it became like a huge thing every time that people wouldn't contact me. I'm like, no, I'm just gonna draw a new name. So yeah, you have to subscribe to get the notification if you won something. So definitely subscribe and like. That helps other people see it. There's people saying to me, you know, I just discovered your channel and I love this and that. If people don't like the video, then those people don't get to see it because it doesn't get promoted through YouTube. So I don't usually say that in my videos because I'm here to have fun and to just hang out with you guys. So you won't hear that in a regular video, but when it comes to getting close to a giveaway, I want to make sure that people, like, I love doing this stuff. I'm not selling it. I just want to have fun and give them away. So please, and you see the unboxings and the amount of stuff I have. I have lots to give away. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.